Okay guys, this video is to show you something that I find personally very disappointing and very concerning. Now, first of all, I want to make it clear that I love the Majority Report and anyone that's ever worked for that show. And so that's why I want the best for it. And so as a true supporter of the show, I will say something if I see something that I believe could harm the success of the show, or even more importantly, the integrity of the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. Okay, I have a couple of minutes from the YouTube show done on the 2nd of June 2021, which was titled Second Amendment Anti-Blackness and America's Gun Obsession Rooted in Slavery with Carol Anderson. And now I'd just like to show you a call. In full disclosure, the person calling into Majority Report is a friend of WDYM. We're going to be listening to the call while viewing the live stream chat.
I'm not sure how many more calls we're going to be able to get to today. Calling from a 249 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Dad.
Say what?
Dad, can you hear me? Dad, it's me. It's your son.
Oh, hey. Hey, what's up, son?
Hey. Not much. I know, you're talking some black issues today, so I decided to call in. I know you noticed I'm calling from a 249 area code.
Yeah.
Sam, I don't know how to explain this to you, but I married one of your listeners, and I with my car that I got. Remember when I signed with Means TV, things like that. When they bought my show, drove out to Canada. I live out here now.
Wait, who's this?
And it's Cole James Cash, your son. Sam.
Hey, Cole James Cash. Wow.
You're talking about anti-blackness. Talking about anti-blackness, but here you are denying your black son, Sam.
I'm sorry. I didn't recognize your number. You could have.
I just told you.
You could have called.
I live out here now, Sam.
Did you really get married?
It's been a while, Sam.
Did you really get married?
I married one of your listeners. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
I married one of your listeners. Yeah. Her name is Lydia. She's at Vista6. Jamie know about it. Everybody know about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I got married.
Congratulations.
And I've been out here the last 5 months.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been out here the last 5 months, and it happened because we DM'd each other a few years ago, and when I decided, you know what, man, maybe I should I'm getting older, I want to have try again with a family and not cheat,
Yeah.
So I threw my hat in, and I said, you know what, let's go all in. She's a member of the First Nations. She from these Canadian streets, just like me, and like me, she's about that action. So it's like, yo, I'm out here in Canada. Been out here for the last 4 months, been hooking up with a lot of folks out here. I don't know if you know one of my closest friends, real life friends, Andre Domis. I know you know him because I know he hollered at you.
I'm just saying.
So yeah, I've been out here.
Dude, that's it.
I know Andre. Shout out to Andre. Hey Cole.
Oh yeah, and Sam, what's crazy?
What
is that? One of my biggest goals in doing this was to reach my people. And, in a lot of ways I've done that, but also it was an honor to interview Anna Kasparian a couple months ago, and talk to her about organizing it, and it was just a great conversation. But for the most part, when it comes to a lot of these things and a lot of these podcasters, Sam, I'm a little disappointed, because real recognize real, and I see a lot of unfamiliarity right now. I see some of these podcasters with 500,000 followers, but don't nobody follow them because if they did, they'd be organized and there'd be people on the ground. As you know, Sam, it ain't no secret. Whether it be my man Kenzo, whether it be Jamie, whether it be myself, we out here in the GSA. It ain't no secret what the resumes are. But what kills me is how I'm not on Twitter no more. And I'm better off for it. But what kills me is that what I see is dunk contests all day, windmills, 360s, but there's no judges. No judges. So, yeah, it's flashy. It looked good. But the fundamentals on how to win, nah. It's just whoever can, do that the quickest and the fastest and, throw that in with a little placating to the right wing. And you got what I see, a little real unfamiliar folks out here.
Yeah.
And my issue, Sam, is I don't know who is really down for this and who's not. But you can't be a socialist if you don't socialize. You can't be a communist if you don't commune. If you're not willing to take territory, block by block, brick by brick, ballot by ballot, jumping on and complaining about a congressman all the way out in New York didn't save me when your local congressman needed some support and signatures on the ground. Like one particular podcaster got 400-some thousand followers complaining about what somebody don't do. But how my man Kenzo Shibata, who's in the Chicago Teacher Union, he could get 30 protesters on the ground in an hour with one phone call. It's either your goal is to have more followers and make more money, or you're going to mobilize and get on the ground, knock on some doors.
I mean, look,
because
I think
a lot of. I'm just tired of that.
I think.
Get
Look,
out there.
Cole. Some people are organizers. I think there's different roles for different people. I mean, I get your point. I think to a certain extent, the Twitter world has become sort of almost a hermetically sealed bubble on some level, where there is no ends outside of like the building audience and just sort of winning within a very, very narrow myopic arena. And I think the point is organizers organize, and that's why they do it better. And they should be, we should be here to sort of help in that job. But I'm not an organizer. I have no skill set in that. My skill set lies here. And so, I try and use the platform to push those things, but I get your point. I mean, I know, I have an idea who you're talking about, or at least, the ilk. But I mean, Sam,
can I just say this respectfully? What I'm saying is not just something over the phone. Shout out to my man, Matt Christman. When he came to Oakland on the East Bay, like this was something that people saw, like I hollered at him because I had an issue with the name Chapo Trap House, and I told him, I'm just going to quote myself. I said, Matt, my issue is that it's called Chapo Trap House, but I see a white boy, excuse my language, I don't see no trap niggas on the show. Yet you're benefiting off that. We need to talk about that. And he listened. I hollered at Felix, and there was an understanding, But the fact of the matter is, I started my show because I wanted to talk to people of color. I know some folks, they hear me, they're like, I don't understand, I don't get this guy. But that means I ain't talking to you. There's not a lot of folks like me, unfortunately. I need more Latinos. I need more people of color. I need more folks out there, And so not every message is for you. But at the same time, I get frustrated at, the lack of, it's more than lack of inclusion. It's, the weaponization of the word woke. Cats talking about, media matters is some B words and this and that. And let me just say this, Sam, and I'm just going to, I'll let you do your thing. Whether it be up here where they got a little anti-mask thing going on, I'm hooking up with Karima Saad next week because, she's pulling up. And I'm on crutches right now, but I don't care. I'm going out tomorrow with my wife. If Chris Sky want to be out there, this and that and the other, cool, No matter what, I just can't help but be out there putting in work. But at the same time, I just get strongly frustrated at the idea that most 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds that I was with in the group home understood the idea of the respect is not going to be handed to you. You got to take it. These cats are not going to save you. You're not going to force nobody to do nothing when they have the power not to. You have to organize and give them something to lose and get momentum going and things like that. And you can either report on what you think the left should do, or you should report on the left what the left is already doing and what cats is out here doing. And the amount of vitriol I see when the woke and things like that. Some of these cats, when they talking about woke or whatever, the idea of inclusion, the idea that you can't call me what I was called when I was 13. So sometimes society and language moves on. It's the same reason why you can't call me a colored spick no more. But yet nothing's fundamentally changed as far as, the systematic oppression of our people. But at the very least, society sort of moves on and says, you know what? If you're a trans woman and you're down to hold down imperialism, you're down to shoot down a drone, okay, cool. Just as long as you're willing to hold down that status quo, but society does change, things evolve, we want to recruit with that. Inclusion should not draw this ear and this disgust like I be seeing.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
let me tell you something, Sam. In the last couple of years, you know, I made a lot of progress. Made a lot of kids, a lot of friends. I wouldn't be up here without my political connections I made in Canada. But I know how these guys get down, you know, and that's not who they really are, and it's just talk, you know. It's just talk. But here's the problem, you know. I worked at a homeless shelter, right? The one I was at specifically, since I'm up here in Canada, I can say it, Georgia Travis. It was down the street from that DTA shooting. And one of my coworker's husband, who worked with me, is dead. You know, is dead. So while individuals are out here, you know, these cats got hammers and sickles in their avatars, but when it comes time and push comes to shove, and folks of color need their back and need their help, they screaming about woke, and the only thing they picked up was a phone. So it's to me, man, it's like, you know, you can either get out there and get something done, or you can keep running in place. Because these cats out here, they can't beat Dan and wonder why Bison won't lose that way. They want to skip straight to the final boss and don't want to put in no work.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Cole.
And that's that. But
all right. So
Sam, I'm gonna email you.
Okay.
Hopefully you get back at me. And it's good to talk to y'all.
Good to talk to you
and,
too.
all right, I'm out with y'all.
All right.
Bye.
It's always good to hear from my son calling in. It's been a while. He doesn't call his dad. Father's Day's coming up, though.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll get you a Harry's razor.
He is your son, then.
Okay, the comments continue after the call, so we'll keep the chat going, and I have a few comments to make. I'd like to start with how a moderator said, "Enough with this crack-induced call." Why would you say something like that? Why would you make assumptions about a caller's drug use and in a judgmental, belittling way? So I just wanted to point out that moderator's absolute disregard and lack of respect for anyone battling with or who has battled with addiction. And you'll see that there are similar comments like this made referring to amphetamines and such. Alright, now moving on. And then you can see that a moderator has removed a user by the name of Lisa Catlett, and I think this means it's removed any comments made by that user, so we can't actually see what Lisa has said that has caused her to be removed. That's unfortunate. So that's not part of the chat, but everything everyone else said still is. Just wanted to point that out. Especially considering that responses from other users towards Lisa would make us think that Lisa was pointing out racist comments made by other people and then supposedly was co-signing sexual harassment. And that brings us to the elephant in the room, these accusations of sexual harassment. And now, a user in this chat called Choking on Ashes 61 has claimed that there is evidence of this harassment in the Discord. Now that's not the most easy to access to everybody, so I invite people with access to this evidence to put a link in the comments of this video or send the screenshots to the Twitter account for What Do You Mean, or on the channel's Instagram. Heck, I'll even dust off the Facebook for this. At WDYM videos, there's a link in the description box of this video, like always, because if these accusations are true, mark my words, there'll be an apology video made by this account. I'll go through everything. I will disavow Cole James Cash. But until that moment, we're going to work with what we've got available to us. Because some people in that chat on YouTube might not have Discord, or even the people that do might be like me and find it difficult to navigate. So if you're gonna make public accusations, you should probably make the evidence public as well. And I would recommend being very clear with the language you decide to use, because terms like pest and using that interchangeably with predator are how you end up with people asking questions about if he's a sexual offender. Because as you can see, if someone was to ask that question, someone else could answer with yes. Now, I'd just like to acknowledge a couple of people from that chat in a positive light, give them a shout out, because they demonstrated they can think for themselves and demonstrated very good critical thinking skills, like Lisa, even though we can't see the comments, Hector, Robin, and Dean, who left this brilliant comment. Documented in what way? If there is evidence of a crime, say so. Otherwise, you are making scurrilous sexual allegations against a dark-skinned man. Spot on. A lot of this video could pretty much be boiled down just to this comment here. And that's why I wanted to make sure that the title of this particular show could be seen for a majority of the video. because it has anti-blackness in the title. Oh, which reminds me, there's another caller at this point during the chat talking about the Second Amendment because, the callers are on point when it comes to this show. So that's why there'll be some comments that will be referencing that sort of topic. Now, I've rewatched this chat so many times and I'm still seeing things that I missed previously. So I could only imagine what you could take out of this after watching it just the once as it happens. But what I can tell you is true for myself at least is with the moderators in a chat having their name in blue with the little symbol next to it certainly makes them stand out, draws your eye towards what they said. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea if Sam took some time to talk about defamation or had someone come on the show to go into detail about defamation. I don't think anyone directly involved with this has anything to worry about. I would imagine moving to another country during a pandemic, getting married, accidents that then lead to needing surgery would probably occupy most of your time and you wouldn't care what's being said about you on the internet. But from what I've seen in this chat and the kind of snowball effect that happens with commenters, I really think people should be given a warning about defamation. Now, the long short of defamation, slander being spoken, libel being written, published, it is defamation when someone's reputation is being damaged. And you should be particularly careful on the internet because you've got people from all different countries involved, and other countries, like Commonwealth countries like mine and Canada, it's a lot easier for the plaintiff to sue for defamation because they don't need to actually prove there were any damages, unlike in the US. But at the end of the day, if it's true, you got nothing to worry about because the best defense against defamation is it's the truth. Which then leads me to the next issue I'd like to discuss, reputation. Because if the people in the chat are correct, then this just shows Sam Cedar being very chummy with a quote-unquote sex pest / sexual predator. Now that's not a very good look for the show. That's not a very good look for Sam. If you're a fan of Sam Cedar, you could find this very upsetting, especially people that have been victimized by a sex pest, sex predator. And if you were a moderator on the show's YouTube channel, I would only assume that you're in communication with people that operate the show. And if you had information, if you had evidence of sexual harassment, would you not make the show aware? Would you not do your best to talk to Sam about it? Because it's his show at the end of the day. He should be aware of what's happening and what the community that's being built around it is like because it reflects on him. So unfortunately, no matter which way you slice or dice it, a person that loses in this situation is definitely Sam Cedar, because the only ways that what I just shown you can be perceived is, and I'll borrow some of their terms, Sam Cedar co-signs sexual harassment, and that's according to the moderators on his own channel. Or option B, Sam Cedar has moderators on his channel saying defamatory things about a person. Well, actually, the defamatory comments is an issue either way because, like the first thing I said when I started speaking, there was a random comment suggesting the caller was on drugs. It had nothing to do with anything else being discussed, and that's the problem with this pile-on, angry mob internet bullshit that people participate in. Seriously, look at it from a perspective of someone who just stumbled across this first time seeing it, and it has the host seem to be enjoying a conversation with someone that people in the live chat are calling a sexual predator and just some randoms calling him a crackhead. Just think about what that looks like. And now if it wasn't obvious by me simply making this video, in the many long communications I've personally had with Cole James Cash, not once, not in any instance has he said, done anything that I could really even interpret as harassment. But I'm not saying because it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen at all. That's why it's very important to present this evidence that they have. Because if they're gonna publicly say these things, they're gonna want to publicly back them up. Especially since they insist on continuously talking about it over multiple platforms, using very vague language that makes it very easy for people to exaggerate the story. Now look, I'm very familiar with one side of this story, and that's why I'm leaning heavily towards Sam Cedar doesn't associate with sex pests, but he does have people in the live chat of his YouTube videos trying to smear people that call into his show. So you really have to present some kind of evidence, and I really think Choking on Ashes 61 should explain this statement. You really should go into more detail about what this means, because just with a simple timeline of events, it doesn't make any fucking sense. So, everything happened online. It should be easy enough to prove it. It should be YouTube videos. You can link it and give us the timestamp. And I'll wrap this up with an IM from the same show that I would like to show you. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really look forward to getting to the bottom of this.
Big Dick Cheney energy. My idiotic coworkers now openly saying they don't believe the Tulsa massacre happened.
Okay.
They believe it was made out of whole cloth just for the HBO Watchmen show.
No, I didn't include the wrong IM, and no, I'm not comparing some internet bullshit to an actual massacre. What I am doing is pointing out that white supremacists obviously don't like it when black people succeed, and also pointing out that there is a history of white supremacists using accusations made by a white woman against a black man as cover and go destroy the success that was made by the people of color. But I am by no means at all suggesting anybody is jealous and racist. No. Oh boy, I can't wait to see that evidence. Yep, surely it's going to be very damning. Oh boy, aren't I going to look silly when I have to make that apology video? Yes.
Username. Thanks for Cole's call. That's my issue with some left people on YouTube, etc. Very concerned with how wokeness isolates the left, might turn people off. The need to build solidarity. Okay, what about the primacy of solidarity with those on the receiving end of cancelable comments rather than the offenders? Exactly.